I was once privileged enough to know a beautiful blonde-haired boy. I taught him in kindergarten when he was pudgy and cute, and when he was in grade 3, he was a taller and slimmer and quieter version of his kindergarten self. But I knew something was wrong. The light he had in kindergarten was gone in grade 3. This beautiful soul was caught in the middle of trauma, not because he chose it, but because he lived it. This is not a story about a bad kid. It's a story about a terrible circumstance that brought me great teaching joy. I would see this man one more time in his short life. I was called by the parole officer to administer a test for placement in reading and writing before an inmate was sent to a juvenile detention center. I sat in that room waiting for the student to come in, never imagining it would be him, that blonde boy who stole my heart in kindergarten. He was led into the room in shackles. I was in shock. I asked the guard to remove the shackles as the student was no threat to myself. I knew him. He was not going to do anything to me. The guard refused and said he was too dangerous. Too dangerous? What was this stupid guard talking about? He didn't know this child or this situation. He didn't know his story or his history of his life. We completed the test, and I told the guard we were finished. I told my student I was proud of him, and he did really well, that he had been keeping up with his learning under his current circumstances. That lovely boy said thank you, and then he told me a short story. He asked me to remember a few years back when our school had been broken into and heavily damaged. I said I did remember that, a little leery of what was going to come next. He asked if I remembered that in the break-in, that my classroom was left untouched and the door had been closed to my room. It was, in fact, the only door closed in the entire school when the RCMP and teachers arrived in the morning. I was always curious why my room was the only one not destroyed in the break-in. Well, I got my answer that day. My student told me that he was responsible for that. He told his crew that they could do anything they wanted to the school, but no one was to enter my room. No one could do anything to my room. He had shut the door. I was in shock. I didn't know what to say. I just hugged him and told him to take care of himself, and that if he needed anything, he just needed to come and find me at the school. I only saw that young man one more time, but it was not to hug him or talk to him or test him. I saw him the day his family buried him, and while the drummers played to send his soul up to the Creator, we danced our hearts out for him just one more time.